Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Stopover Studio Visit number 4. Stopover is a series of studio visits which will continue until November this year. It convenes individuals and groups from physically distant places to learn about their daily experiences and practices in relation to the current situations shaped by specific contexts. We would like to express our sincere gratitude to the Foundation Manila, together we design and Textile Art Museum.Ph for their kind support to realize this project. Before we start, we would like to remind that today's session is recorded and will be uploaded on the Load Nadito website and social media. We hope to facilitate casual interactions with all of you, so please use the chat box or raise your hand to join the conversation anytime. We aim to make this gathering a safe space. Thank you for your presence, participation, and sharing of your warm energies with us.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Japan, for the intro. For this session, the studio visit number 4, we are proud to present 4 artists and a duo collaborative who will present their practice and the idea of ever-changing idea of studios. So we will have Jaime Pasena, Jiandyin, who is also Baanor Collaborative, Ralph Lumbres, and Ness Roque. So first, we will introduce
ourselves first. Do we want to just quickly introduce ourselves?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Sorry. So before we introduce the guest, I would like to also thank everyone to join today's conversation and studio visits. I'm Mayumi from Lod Nadito, and I'm joining today from Cubao. And Mark?
Yeah, I'm Mark. We are in the same house, so I'm also in Cubao. And Jerome here.
I'm Jerome. I'm in Manila.
So yeah, thank you again for tonight's. So we will directly introduce our moderator and panelist. So Jaime Pasena is a curator, visual artist, filmmaker, teacher based in Maginhawa in Quezon City. He's a visual artist and had the exhibitions in Manila, Cebu, Iloilo, Japan, Korea, and Hong Kong. He's a video director and for advertising and music video or music industry. And he's a multimedia art. He has a multimedia art collective called BM Lab, Bliss Market Laboratory. And he is also an in-house curator for Canvas.Ph and Marahuyo Art Projects. He's currently developing his script for his first feature film under the weekly scriptwriting workshop, Batch 24, titled Konobasho. So here, Jay is the moderator, and I'm introducing also our 3 panelists. Jiandyin, who lives in Ratchaburi. Aside from their individual artistic practices, they are known as Jiandyin, but they're a duo since 2002. They are the co-founders of Baanor Collaborative Arts and Culture, a not-for-profit artist initiative whose projects include arts education, artists in residency, curatorial projects, interdisciplinary exchange, and post-education programs of Nongpo community and global networks. Their upcoming exhibitions include the Documenta 15 in Kassel in Germany in 2022 and the Jakarta Biennale in Indonesia in this year, 2021.
Okay, and we also have Ralph Lumbres. Is an artist whose works transect disciplines from visual arts, sculpture, installation, and video, design, performance, education, and community engaged projects. He is a founder and managing member of Salikain Collective, an interdisciplinary collective that creates participatory art and research projects in communities in the Philippines. And finally, but not least, Ness Roque, who was born in 1991, Angeles City, Philippines. She works as a theater and film actor, performance dramaturg, and educator. Ness is part of Sarikain Collective with Ralph and other members. She is a mixed scholarship recipient and is currently a graduate student at the Tokyo University of the Arts, Graduate School of Global Arts, Department of Art Studies and Curatorial Practices. Okay, so everyone, join me, welcome Jay. Jay, screen is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thanks, Mayumi, Mark, and Jerome Lodito for this session. I'm going to present myself first. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, we can see.
Okay. Yeah, hello, everybody. I'm Jay. I'm called also Jaime Pasena, the second, because my father is also Jaime. I'm affiliated with Canvas, Marahuyo Art Projects, BM Lab, and Asia Pacific College. So to tell you about myself, since last year, I think the idea of Open Studio for me shifted to social media or Instagram. But of course, no, it's just a platform for us to show our the other side of what we do. No, this is not the totality of who I am, but these are just some of the things that I just really wanted to share based on the things that I do, where most of the time I openly share my stories in the form of an artwork. But aside from that, it also shifts from different types of media. This is where I explore a lot of different things and just show it to the public. So basically, it's an open studio, sort of, since the pandemic. Most of the time, I share pieces that presents as an excerpt of a story that I wanted to tell. So it really shifts from one story to another. I really don't create just one imagery and continue doing that. I always shift from one to another, just like my practice as a creator. And most of the time, you can see a lot of lines in my work. Basically, it connects to the idea that I am fascinated with, moving around or movement. I currently live and do my work in Maginawa Street in Quezon City. Of course, it's not so clear, but it's in Quezon City, and this is my studio. I'm not here right now. I'm in another place. I'll tell you all about it later. This is my studio. It's located in 112 Maginawa Street. My neighbor is Concerned Artist of the Philippines, and before pandemic, I really wanted to create this space as a hub for a lot of discussions. But after the pandemic happened, I just shifted this and used this space as my own office and man cave, technically. So most of the time I work here. And for me, this is also a hub for me, my son, and my partner, Jai. And this is also where I teach online in a multimedia arts course in Asia Pacific College. So basically, it happens dun lang sa space na yun. And this is where I also edit advertising videos that I create from time to time. That particular space as well is where I think and collaborate with Canvas, where I work as a curator, where most of the time we do a lot of projects for the kids and for the idea about human rights. And we also is developing a museum for the children, which is called Tumba Tumba, Children's Museum of Philippine Art. I'm also involved in another program that shifted from Canvas to this. It's called Marahuyo Art Projects. And most of the time, it's all about connecting with young artists and building their narratives through this online platform. So I work here as a curator as well. And in that particular space, I also do try to write. I cultivated a story that I'm currently developing entitled Kono Basho under the Ricky Lee scriptwriting workshop that started last year. This basically saved my pandemic life last year. I learned from the guidance of Ricky Lee and from his teachings, all of these things in terms of writing, that came from the idea of me being a resident in Aomori in 2010, that somehow led me to the interest about art and culture and about Japan in general. So this is me, and my story is basically located in Rikusen Takata, a city that was wiped out by the tsunami. So I witnessed its development since 2013, 2016, 2019, and that gave me an inspiration to start writing my first feature film. I'm also developing a program in BM Lab since 2012. And right now we're actually doing another online feature of this particular program, which is a young artist in residence that allowed Japanese students to come here in Manila and APC students to go to Japan. But because it's pandemic, we're doing it online. So yeah, we're doing it right now. And right now I'm here in UP Bliss Diliman. This is where I grew up. This is my sanctuary, basically, since 1980. Yeah, salamat o gozaimasu po. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. And now we call Jiandyin.
Yes, thank you. So we're on the other device, so we try to work it out as we're not so used to. Yeah, so we're sharing our screen now.
Yeah, you can see it. You can see it.
So can you see our screen now?
Yes, you can see.
Great. So this is so we are Jiandyin. We are collaborative artist team. We started to work together since 2002. So we are artistic, research-based artists. We engage different disciplines. This is what we have been developing our practice. And the
since 2010, he has been developed a long-term projects until 2017. Yeah, since the Asian Cultural Council's grant,
yes,
we has been developed our project called Dialogue, Seeing and Being from San Francisco, New York, and so on, until the last one in Jongwon in Korea.
So
Dialogue, Seeing and Being was a simple method that a couple draw people portrait on the public.
It's an interactive performance-based drawing project. And this was one of the shows that we had in 2012 at the Taipei Artist Village. So as you can see that we work on different sites with different contexts and history, yeah. And this is also one of the work that we did in front of the Bangkok Art and Culture Center. It's on the walkway of the SkyTrain.
So we use the drawing to find the missing people in Thailand.
Yeah, that was part of the Asiatopia. And this is the other site that we engaged through Shivitala Ranieri residency
at the same process of drawing portraits back and font size, we changed different approach to different contexts of the size. For example, like in Umbe. So we found out that the castle that we live resident there, it used to be a card factory in 17th century. So we use the cards of that castle appropriate into the paper of drawing of people to flat the classes of the classes. Yeah. And also in Chongwan, yeah, we work with children and do also drawing in like round.
Yeah, we offer but this was the first time that we offer an object instead of a living person in the middle. So it was a skull, and then the participant will draw
in different angle
of the skull,
and the different angle of the drawing can at the end is automatically become animation, stop motion when you walk around the image of drawing. Yeah. So
this was a solo show that we collect all the works during 2010 to 2017.
The show was
so it combined with
talk about the sociologies that how we engage and how a simple method that can be linked to a people that we draw. For example, like every piece of drawing that we will give for the participant, the font portraits always give to the participant, and the backside of the portraits that we will collect it. And also we connect them by asking those people to visit their home.
So yeah, it combined with multifacets of the result of the project. Yeah.
And then yeah.
Also, this one is
during 2015, we come across to research about the minings in Thailand, the biggest mining in Thailand. We found out that the mining has been ruined the communities there by the cyanides. So we work with 10 people we work with 10 villagers who has been, yeah, this project, of course, we use the same method by drawing their portrait and collect the backside of portraits. And the photo, these show the appropriations of each client, that how he read into the void, which, as you see, the building is in construction building that you see is the one of the temple in the village that has been never finishing because of the crisis of the situations of the village, that the mining company buy the land even the temple. This is how the mining looked like, and also the section of the gold that lead into the soil. There is the Australian company, the biggest one in the world, that has mining there. So this is the exhibition in Cartel's Bangkok. So yeah, and the animations of the construction of the temple on the monitor on the right-hand side. And also in Guangzhou Biennale 2018, yeah, we combine the works of minings and the projects of the Lanyu Island in Taiwan, where they has how can I say, where they has
the waste.
The waste of, where they contain the waste of
the atomic waste. อะไรนะ ภาษาไทย
So we combine these two together about the cyanide effects and nuclear waste effects to the community itself. So these two projects combine together to how the effect of the chemical in the communities.
Mm-hmm. And then the project in the Krabi Island, where we focus on it was like an action to the government's coal power plant.
So Krabi is the most beautiful place in Thailand, and also the biggest land size of one of in the Southeast Asia. The Lamsa site is very, very important for the small housings for the small fishes and animal. The government has a plan to do coal power plant in this area. So this project, that's how we try to combine the people who are against the government. Trying to find a solution to have a green energy by a solar cell. And this project is not only the solar cells. We combine the marginalized people in this area who they are almost gone because of the modern days, that how the government bring them to stay into one place, and they don't have any place to move as before as the sea people.
So we work with the tricycles and also the local bus who were not authorized by the government to legally work in the city, but they appear to be just really be part of the city.
Even though those people, they are local people, and they used to be people who were born there and before the tourists authorities has established the tourist bomb. So those people have their land and so on. They have their life cultivated by the land. But after the tourists come, so they had to change their occupation to be like a second citizen to serve the tourism.
Yeah, so
and Asian Art Biennial in 2019. So this another step that we try to work with different matter of the biologicals. Since we have been working with minings, we try to understand that how the biological system in the body has an effect to man. So in this time, we work with the people who take methamphetamine. So we collect the urine of people who take the drugs. And then we use that drug to we use the drug and put into the fountain. So actually, it is quite interesting because the urine the urines of the people who took the methamphetamine can live long than how long than what we thought. So the lifelong of the urine in the people who took methamphetamine can live like 4 months until 4 to 5 months if we feed in the refrigerator at the temperature about
15 degrees.
15 degree and the lower at 8 degree. So it means as an artist, we bring the illegal material across the country through the urine, and this urine at the museum, as a scientist in the closed room at the lab, actually they can extract the methamphetamine out of the urine as a half of the number of the pill of how many the drug user took it.
So yeah, and the last project that we're going to show today, this was last year. It was part of the Green Island Human Rights Art Festival. As you can see that it's our interest to work and to focus on the state of the marginalized condition. Especially here, we developed the work from on adaptation work since 2009. This time we worked with 2 migrant laborers who used to be the project's mapping. So here the body, we imitate a perfect body, and to show how the labor will adapt themselves to serve the capitalism.
In the case, this labor is imitated from the Myanmar migrant worker who live in our village. So the project was extended from the projects called to 69 days life milk that we has been working with Myanmar migrant worker for 1 year. So, and this animation theme, we extension from that project after several years. So the final of the theme that show how the migrant worker has have been on adaptation themselves to be masculine, to be masculine, to be perfect, to serve the merchant, to serve the capitalized, the capitalism. Yeah, and this is very touchable for one of the projects that we has been working with the marginalized people here in our village.
Yeah, so thank you for today.
Thank you very much, Jiandyin. Okay, so I would like to next invite Ralph to give us a short introduction to his practice before we go to the studio visit proper. Okay, Ralph, screen is yours.
Hello everyone, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just sharing my website. I'm just gonna go through and maybe explain a little bit about my practice. So hello again, I'm Ralph. I'm a visual artist from the Philippines, and currently I'm here with Ness in Japan. So yeah, we're currently based here. As mentioned before, my work is very interdisciplinary. I guess similar to Jiandyin. I do a lot of participatory artworks. I also founded the interdisciplinary collective with Ness and with other friends who are researchers, community workers, designers, artists. So yeah. Just maybe go through some of my projects. I'm going to start with this one. So in 2017, I created this participatory 3D mapping project. So it's a geographical practice that I integrated with like art activities, sculptural methods, and games and design, etc. So let's show you some photos. So basically, we get GIS data from geographers and also kind of try to integrate it with local knowledge from the community. So the first version of this project was done in Dingalan, Aurora, with the indigenous Dumagat community. So there's a lot of details about this project, like technical details about disasters, hazard mapping, etc. But I won't maybe dwell into that too much. If you want, you can just visit the website for more details, maybe. So I also collaborated with the collective, Salikain Collective, for this project. Okay. And so maybe some projects here in Japan. So this is kind of an ongoing project. This is Bukas, called Bukas. Bukas means open and tomorrow in Tagalog. It's a time capsule project where I ask people to send a message for 10 years, so in 2030. And I created a replica of the Manunggul jar. The Manunggul jar is a burial jar in the Philippines. So I interviewed people for this, and there's also a version of this where it was exhibited in Koganecho Bazaar last year in Yokohama, Japan. So aside from the interviews, there's also participatory sculpture workshop where they created a sawdust sculpture. So similar to the material that I used for the 3D mapping, sawdust and plywood sculpture, and they also wrote messages to the future at the back of the sculpture. And then these sculptures were put into the manungul jar, and it was sealed and scheduled to be open in 10 years. So this is the replica of the manungul jar, which is also made from sawdust. So manungul jar is a burial jar from the Philippines, from the Neolithic period, so a long time ago. So kind of like that metaphor of like maybe moving to the next world or something like that. What else? I also create this kind of like a cooperative card game. So it's kind of talks about cooperation during disasters. So yeah, basically, before I used to be a fellowship of Japan Foundation Hands Project, where it's like combining art and creativity with disaster. So that's why I also have works with disaster risk reduction and environmental education projects. So this one, Amabie Koiro project, I also did last year. It's actually still ongoing. So Amabie is a kind of mythical creature in Japan that kind of protects the people from, or at least the symbol of it protects from the pandemic. So it's a relay project where I sent it to a friend sent it to a friend until so on and so forth. So I think now it's in Okinawa, but I'm not sure. It's actually on Instagram, and I haven't checked in where is the last location of this sculpture. Okay, and maybe the last one that I will present is this project called It's Always Done Somewhere. It's an online project where a 24-hour project that I invited friends and family from all over the world to live stream their sunrise through Zoom. So that happened in one whole day. Actually, 18 hours. We didn't finish that 24 hours. This one is also exhibited in Koganecho Bazaar for this year. So this is actually the event page that I created when we did the project in August 8th. These are already documentation of the exhibit, which is still ongoing until October 31. Maybe I'm just gonna show the installation a little bit. So on the left side is live, showing a website where it's a live, you can see live where the sun is from the earth. So like kind of the sunrise sunset. And on the middle part is like the time lapse of the whole event, the 18-hour event. So maybe I'm just gonna show it quickly. I also uploaded the so Ness also helped me. So she's the dramaturg of this project. Yeah, so the video is 18 minutes. So 18 hours to 18 minutes. So we had participants from Philippines, Japan, Indonesia, Thailand, Jerusalem, Spain, Italy, Brazil, US, and Canada. Yeah. And maybe just show one work I did with Ness also. So Ness and I, since we work as a collective, we also work collaboratively, not as a collective sometimes. So for example, this one is a video project of poetry reading that I really like by Donella Meadows, which talks about the ephemerality and how lines and borders are just invented. And this is the reading of that poem in Mekong River in the border of Thailand and Laos. So yeah, thank you so much. I hope I didn't overtime, but maybe Ness. Or,
Yeah. Thank you, Ralph. May I invite Ness to give us short introduction to your practice?
Hi everyone, I hope my internet is now better. I will try to share. Can you see this?
Yes, we can
Yeah,
see it.
Okay, I'm just gonna, I think maybe I will talk a little bit more during the open studio. So I'm just gonna give a very brief introduction. So hi everyone, I'm Ness. My main background is I am an actor. My main training is in theater. So I work as an actor for both theater and cinema. So I've been performing as an actor since I was 11 years old, and I am now 30. So it's been a while. So because of that, I also like doing other things. Yeah, so I also do workshops. I also teach kids. I also do a lot of work with not just theater, but like art with kids. So I consider myself an educator as well. So this is a recent workshop that we did here, I think in August, just last August, here in Japan. And aside from like these theater kind of works that I do, just recently I've been trying to do some solo explorations, not really solo, but like yeah, some sort of exploration. So for example, this one is a site-specific intervention, or what they call sound bombing. Last year during the Independence Day, June 12, 2020, there was a big protest in Manila that I wanted to join, but I couldn't join because I was stuck in Tokyo. And so I asked my friend Cheska to stream the sound of the protest to me. And so inside this bag that I am holding is a huge speakers. And so I was walking in Tokyo, sending the sound of the protest inside my bag. Yeah, and yeah, so actually technically I'm not allowed to do any kind of protest as a scholar in Japan. But it's an art project, so it's allowed, I think. So these kinds of things, like these are the things that I kind of like doing on my own. I mean, it's not a commissioned work, it's not really anything, but it's some of the things that just come into my mind and I just try to do them. Another recent project that I have is this listening performance that I did between one listener and one performer. So I tried to pair two women who didn't know each other, and they speak different languages. And the invitation is for one of them to say anything that they would like to say, that they can't even tell their closest friends. So they can say it in their mother tongue. So they're free to say anything because the listener will listen, but they will not understand. So it's kind of like a confessional kind of performance. So my work in this performance is really just organizing for the two people to meet at the same time, and then I also don't listen to what is happening. It's kind of hard to explain, but anyway, that's the spirit of the things that I try to do. What else? And most recently, so the reason why I'm not in a private space, I'm in a public space, is that I'm doing a project with Tokyo Festival currently. So maybe I'll talk a little bit more about that. But yeah, just a short introduction about myself. That's where I'm at right now, and that's who I am. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ness. And thank you also again to the each presenters. And I think I forgot to mention, we forgot to mention that this session of Studio Visit will have two parts. So the first part is the introduction of the individual artists. And then the second part is quote unquote Studio Visit. And we are also like experimenting on what now is studio as different practices of the artists are taking. So as at this point, Jaime Pasena will be the moderator for this
Hi.
visit.
Hi.
And we, just a background, we kind of have a meeting first before this session. And then actually they are the one who designed this kind of, what kind of studio visit will be happening today. So Jay,
Thank you, Mark.
the screen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Let's start. No? For this particular part, I'm gonna moderate the discussion, and I'm gonna ask basically Jiandyin, Ralph, and Ness to first talk about a particular space, no, in where they are right now. I asked them to choose a particular part of the space, talk about it, what it is about, and maybe discuss maybe 3 keywords that somehow you associate that particular space with. No, let's start with Ralph. Ralph. So Ralph is going to nakamute ka. Yeah.
Sorry, so just trying to show my setup through this. Is there feedback?
No.
No.
Good.
Okay, good. So maybe I'm gonna start showing the space a little bit. So actually, I'm in a residency. So I'm staying here for 2 months. I started in early September.
So where is the space again, Ralph? It's in what part of Japan again? Sorry, just for our audience. Ralph?
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Right now, yes.
Wait, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
I think sometimes
better.
my
Much better.
connection is
Much better.
yeah, okay.
Mm.
So Matsudo is in north of Tokyo. So it's in another prefecture, but it's close, pretty close, maybe like an hour by train. So
you mentioned that that particular space was before is can you describe
Love
it?
Hotel.
A love hotel.
Yeah, yeah. So
Love
they call it Love Hotel. Maybe in the Philippines we're more familiar where we say motel. So
hotel.
yeah. In Japan, maybe some of you would know that there's a lot of artist residency spaces. And for this particular place, the building owner kind of became their how do you say, not really donated, but I think supported the organization. So he lent them this building,
For
or at least
for
2 floors
artists,
of
no?
this building where I'm.
So it's not just you there. There's some other artists as well.
Yeah. So Paradise Air is an organization, and now they're.
Paradise area.
Yeah. So for their long stay program, or the for their long stay program, they call it. There's 3 of us, 3 artists. So one from Sweden. So yeah, as you can see, it's I'm not sure if you can feel the vibe that it's not, it's kind of like a hotel. Maybe I'll show a little bit like.
You mentioned what floor are you in again? It's
Actually, I'm in the 5th floor.
5th floor.
Yeah, so I can show you some. Can you see my other camera? So
yeah,
a little bit high. It's quite cold right now. I'm not sure. I think it's autumn already.
So it's really in the middle of the city in Matsudo.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Matsudo is a city, but actually it's in the middle of not really suburb area, but there's a lot of nature still here, and the Edo River is close. So it's a city, but also close to nature.
It's like maybe a downtown, no? I think that kind of particular house space is being converted into an art hub, or where artists basically convene or immerse themselves or intervene with the space, is really usual in Japan, no? Right?
Yeah.
Like, for example, you mentioned that you were actually part of Koganecho Art Bazaar.
So
right?
yeah, the exhibition that I showed you earlier, I mentioned Koganecho Bazaar. So Koganecho is also an art organization in Yokohama, Japan, where they call it Machi Zukuri, which is like a town development. So this kind of organization, but specifically for the arts. So they support artists. They have artist residency, because these areas used to be a red light district. So they converted many places there into like artist studio and galleries. So we actually live in that area. Like we rent an apartment in that area, and we're having an exhibition there. So I think in Japan, a lot of these are happening not just in cities but also in rural areas where they convert maybe schools or other things to kind of for this like town development, something like this. Yeah.
Some maybe use it because the population goes down, no? And activate the space.
Right.
But in this
So that's one
particular
reason.
context, maybe Koganecho and the Paradise area somehow is related, no? Because you said that you're in a love hotel.
Yeah.
Maybe, no? Maybe.
And actually, even
Isn't
here in Matsudo is also kind of known to have
that sort of
also kind of like red light district as well. Like there's
Yeah.
lots of pachinko or like
Mm.
gambling area, something like this.
Can you show one particular space that you actually sort of in that particular room, no? Can you show us one particular space that you usually use?
Yeah, actually, it's the desk.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna show. I'm not sure if you can see it. Basically, this is the desk where I eat, where I work. It's kind of the main space for me. Yeah, and I kind of set up another space here where I can do some drawings and stuff, but I don't do as much for now. I think a lot of work for me right now is digital or coordinating, emailing and stuff. I guess that's one thing that's interesting for, at least for me as an artist who does works like participatory artworks. A lot of it actually is, writing proposals and coordinating, but especially now we're doing work online, collaborating online. A lot of it has also been in the computer. Kind of ironic, but yeah, I think it's interesting.
Yeah. If there are 3 words that will describe that particular area, can you tell us? Sort of
I think one is adjustment.
adjustment. That's nice.
Yeah, I could, because I guess as for this discussion, particularly like the evolve, how studios evolve, and like some artists do residency, so they go out of their space and like kind of make your own studio in another space. So that's one like adjustment. Um, how do you say? But also familiarity, the kind of conflicting. But I guess familiarity because when you try to recreate your workspace in another space, you try to do the same stuff. Like I have my monitor raised, which is kind of how I do it in our apartment, or these things you can bring and try to recreate. Um, maybe another word for this space is undone, or maybe not yet finished, because
Or
I
work
think
in
it's
progress, no? Sort of
work in
undone.
progress. Yeah, I think in transition also, because of course, since it's sometimes when you have your own space, you even at how in your house, in your studio, that transforms, right? But at some point it's kind of stable in a sense that okay, it's maybe this is more or less like this. Maybe it changes, you add some things, but more or less is this. But in like a residency setup, it's more dynamic because you're just new, and it's not permanent, so you don't buy permanent stuff or set up permanent stuff. It's very temporal. So yeah.
But you're not always staying there, right? Do you go out or to another space to work?
Primarily this is the space. So kind of the bedroom and your studio is here. But since many of my work also still going outdoor, like documenting, so I also do some video and some documenting. So I go out for walks and street photography, or just documenting video outside. But mainly like if I produce output, it's more or less here.
And
They
that,
have some common areas like lounge and studios that you can borrow if you need more space. But I guess for working, it's mainly here.
okay. Thanks, Ralph. I'm gonna go back to you again. I'm gonna ask Ji and Yin with regards to their space, with regards to a particular area. No? Maybe you can show us around first. Thanks, Ralph.
Yes, sure. Um, yeah. So we're from our office. We start from the office first.
Ji and Yin, what is that again? Can you tell us what particular city or?
Yes. So we are here in the Nongpo district in Ratchaburi city. So that's why you will see a space that we live here with G's parents. It's his original town that he was born here. And if you want to imagine the location, it's just
Like to our south of Bangkok, like southwest, and from our place, another 2 hours, we heading west. We can go to the border of Myanmar. So actually, this region is what's been significant. The first regions where the Buddhism has been alive, alive in Siam, like 11th century, 7th to 11th century, it was an archaeology sites they are ruined already, and is quite pity because in the Thai mainstream education they are not count our regions was as a Thai, because at that time the people in these regions they are not using Thai language. So the mainstream of Thai education was established as a Thai, as a people or a country or nation, but not a modern nation state. But anyway, they are not counting us as a Thai. And also our village is the village of the people who are
Evacuate from the north of Thailand.
From Somia, 200 years ago. Even my mom, she's still speaking dialect, which I'm not understand. So the villager people, they are still speaking their own dialect. So this is how, in general, that how the people in this village communicate. And yeah, it's kind of pity that our village is turned to modernize by government force like 40 years ago. That means the village itself become a modern town since then, and all the culture and their own custom were disappear.
Sorry, maybe Jay would like to.
I'm just gonna ask, maybe do you also share this particular space with other artists? Do you use this as just for your own space, or do you invite other artists to do work or to maybe participate in that particular dialogue to present with their works? No, is that part of your daily negotiations in that particular space?
Yeah, so as you can see, I guess we're a little lucky because the land belongs to his grandparents, and then when we started to come here, and after we lived here for a while, then we just consider to kind of open our space to work with community people. So that's why later when we introduce our studio, you will find that it's a kind of multi-purpose and also a space that it's in between private and public. We allow people to come by.
So yeah, actually we have two spaces. One is inside our land and one is outside. Which is very important because the outside space is the place that how the community and our villager, local people can interact to the program that we have developed and create together with them. Even though the temple, the abbot of the temple, also being our advisor for many projects that has been done here in the village.
That's nice. Yeah, we see a sculpture at the back. Is that something that is that your work or a work by?
Yeah, this is my work when I was MA programs. So yeah, actually I was trained as a sculptor in MA program, and this is one of the pieces that left. And also, yeah, of course, this is one of the key point that somehow is turn ourselves as an artist into multidisciplinary, because this piece that make confused for the local people, like a gardener who come to work for my father every day. They kind of confused that what this is, and I try to explain him as a language of as an element of shape, volume, form, and curiosity in academic way, right. But he still like not believe me, and he asked me, and he at the end he told me is still to be a big hat for himself, and at that time it's like is how can I say, like is boom, it's like a eureka. It turned me like the language of the elements of the academic way that it doesn't work for the people around, and we find ourselves that the academic and the art that we has been studied from the university is never connect to a neighbor, even the next door. So since 2007 turned to like in between 2005 into 2010, we spent so many years to analyze and to develop our practice into a kind of a multi-function, and how to serve and how to recognize an art as one of the function to engage to the social as we can.
It's nice. So that particular moment, no, with your father's gardener, you said?
Sorry?
Yeah.
Our gardener.
Yeah. So that basically started the idea to communicate further in terms of a language that the local people will understand or connect with, no? Your practice now.
Right.
Yeah, and then also started to be concerned about participatory area. Yeah. How can we open up?
You mentioned you have two spaces. Basically, right now you're inside, right? Or this is the outside land that you're talking about? This is not yet the outside land, right?
Yeah, this is
the
main place of our studio, front and Bangkok also. So we have two.
Yeah, like Bangkok has divided into two spaces. One is the studio here, as you see, and one is outside. just like a 5 minutes walk away from here. It's the Comulab. It's called Banok Comulab, which is the space that open public to the local community people to join and to experiment and also to explore the diversity of the program and products and everything that we have.
Social enterprise space also, yeah.
Because in Bangkok, we have one section called NPKD Social Enterprise. That enterprise, which has been working along with the
farmers, and also local
village
members,
people, community people,
to add value to the milk in the village, because we are dairy farm village.
Yeah, we are the dairy farm village. As I told before, this village has been turned to the modernized as like 50 years ago. And before, it was the rice field as an agriculture. So the government forced and bring the new ideas of become a dairy farm. And since then, the rice field and the agriculture culture has been gone. So the villager people, they are turned, like 90% of them turn to be a dairy farm. Yeah.
Okay. Would you like to show more of the space? Like
are we going to the space introduction now?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's the
you see
gardener
the guy.
who we mentioned.
Yeah, he's my master who turned our life.
Hello.
Doesn't know that, no?
Yeah.
Really nice space. You have a lot of space to outside, no? To think and to work, to engage with.
Yeah. So as we mentioned, the place belongs to these grandparents. And so it used to be a rice field long ago. And then his parents turned to be government officers. And then for our generation, we started to think of coming back and live here since 2006. Yeah, and that's where we start to build the studio. Yeah.
Yeah, you see the place. This is a part of our studio. So yeah, as Jin said, that it was a rice field. So the land here, as we have, is about 1.58 acre. So this divide into like 3 residents in our land and one as a common lab outside as a public, and one is studio and 3 residents for the artist. Is a kind of semi-public.
So right now you mentioned there are other artists there?
Right now, we don't have any artist residency here because of COVID. The program has to be postponed. So we have a colleague to help us for camera. So you can follow us. On the left side is the office and library where we have presentations. And in the library, we have about 400 books.
Mhm. So pre-pandemic time, do you usually use this particular space to invite other people, guests, and
Yes.
create programs?
Yeah,
Right.
so this is a office room and also a library. So yeah, we're still classifying the books that we have after we got invaded by the termites a few years ago.
Mm.
And here is a common table that we work on the computer work, editing work. And so sometimes we pack with 3 or 4 people at the peak of the project. Yeah. So next door is the main studio. We take you.
So here is a kind of high ceiling. The studio with high ceiling about 7 meters here, and the other side is about 40 meters. So the studio here is the space is about 140 square meter.
Yeah. So as we mentioned, it was a rice field. So the land was it's like a long shape. So it took us quite a while to consider where to locate the main studio. But because
the studio is designed by me because in BA program I'm studying in interior designs and architect. So that's how I try to make our studio as a studio for working in a multi function and material at the beginning, and of course at the first 5 to 6 years we work and also sleep here before we have another resident, another house.
Jiandyin, can you tell us one particular area in the studio that you usually work? In what particular space in the studio you usually work, or very significant to you?
yeah, we have 2 separate places.
Yeah, we'll show you how the space look like. It's kind of multi-function. So as you see here is a kind of bench work.
Workshop.
Working, we have kind of like table saw right here. And we got the storage for all the equipment. Also like here. And yes.
Yeah, so mainly this is like a studio, ideal studio that we thought of having when we first built it, to have all equipment and tools, and also enough space to produce
different kind of work.
materials.
Yeah. As you see the sculpture there in front of the studio, it was like made in this space with full facility and equipment. For example, here we got like a welding machine and carrot welding machine, and also like table table welding table, and a cutting for the metal stuff. And also on the wall, we have kind of full equipment for carving wood. So basically, before we collect. When I was making kind of traditional sculpture, I collect all the material to work. And now, when we turn our space into the residency programs, we open studio and also helping artists who want to work with different media and also help them to finishing their work. Because basically our artists who come to live here most of them are interdisciplinary artists, and they work as a post-studio work. But of course, sometimes they will need some equipment. This can help. They very help them to realize and to finishing stuff. We also have a cutting to build.
It seems that you are very well organized.
Well,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
it took many years. Yeah,
Very
honestly,
ideal artist.
right away. Sorry.
Yes, well, just to ask you, what do you think are the three keywords that you would like to share with us tonight in terms of describing your space?
Yeah. So, how about we show you the next room?
Okay.
Yeah. That we spend pretty much time over there.
Sorry, I'm curious. What is the color of the light in that particular space? Is it
The light, yeah.
is it yellow or green?
It's a daylight.
Daylight.
It's quite a high voltage, because for the studio work you need very clear lighting, and this light is quite very high and sharp.
Somehow the
Until it becomes more
seems green.
yellow.
So here is more like a common space.
Yeah, we have a round table here, and also the dining table. So yeah, the dining here, and artists who come here and also eat together here. Inside, we have another table outside. So this area, how can I show you? So we have show several pieces of our work. This is our portrait. The portrait can be moved. Yeah, and divide into many different pieces. This is one piece. This one. Yeah.
Okay.
So this round table, as he explained, I guess is one of the place where we often spend the time, because we eat here and we also discuss projects here with our colleagues. So we do everything here.
Basically, we have artist in residency, more than 3 people. One can stay here at the mezzanine. At the mezzanine here, and this is on the right side is the bathroom, a shower with the open air.
Okay. Jiandyin, can you tell us the sort of the keywords that you like to describe that particular table or that particular space, I think?
Yeah, in fact, when we discussed about that, we thought of one of the things that belongs here is the pet. We have different pets at different period. Like this time we have Dudu and also one cat. It's kind of interesting when people or anyone who used to come to Bangkok, when they think of Bangkok, they would think of our pets. Actually, recently we have one dog and one cat.
We have one bully. So
Yeah.
every artist who come here, they will have to play with Dudi and Dudu. Yeah, Dudu all the time.
What's the name again? Sorry, Dudu?
Dudu.
This one is Dudu. The previous one was Dudi.
So
just passed away.
Dudu in Thailand mean look aggressive.
Look aggressive.
Yeah, but actually it's not. It's crazy.
He just looks aggressive.
Yeah,
and,
don't right.
and we have another cat, but we cannot force him to come. So just hope that he will visit us within the time. Yeah.
And from the dining, we move to living room.
Okay.
So the living space that allow for the artists to come and be relaxed. You can take a book from the library and come and sit here. We have 2 swings. One is hammock, one is swing out there, so it can be relaxed out here.
Okay, Jiandyin, let me interrupt for a bit. Thank you very much for sharing your space. I really think that it's very ironic that the most common thing that in a big space like this, there will always be sort of like that particular area where everybody convenes and everybody, like for example, the dining table or even the workshop area. Let me move first to. I'll go back to you again. Let us see Ness space where you are right now. Thanks, Jiandyin. I'll go back to you with regard to the object.
Thank you.
See you
Thank
later.
you for coming.
Yeah. Ness, it's your turn. Can you tell us where you are right now?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, so right now I will share my video. I will share my screen just to show. This is where we live. We actually live in Yokohama. And Ralph is in Paradise Air. It's around an hour drive, but I think no one drives in Tokyo. I don't know. We don't have a car. So by train, that's around. How far is that, Ralph? 1.5 hours.
I think more or less, yeah, 1.5 hours.
And then right now, where I am is this studio called Suiteng Gupit. So it's a public hall. So the reason why I'm speaking very low, because in this building there are many studio spaces being rented by different companies. And this from morning to 6 p.m. So now it's 8:33. From morning to 6 p.m. I was having a rehearsal at the third floor. And then that rehearsal ended. And so right now I am in the hallway. Just like I'm just in the hallway of the second floor. And maybe I tried to connect my phone, so maybe I can show, if you could spotlight that. Hello, can you hear me from here?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yep.
Hello? Yeah, okay. So yeah, so this is where I was. I just tried to, actually the room that they told me I could have a Zoom meeting is that room, but there's no Wi-Fi inside. And so earlier when Ralph was presenting, I was walking around here trying to find the best space. And then I saw this. So that's the router. And so I just positioned myself right next to that router. Yeah, and I don't know what else I could share, but like it's just
What's the building again? It's like a communal building, no? Like a lot of different like spaces or offices use the space.
yeah. So I think I'm maybe from my experience working as a performer in Japan, like usually there are if there are rehearsals, usually they happen in kind of like community centers.
Yes.
I don't know how to say it because I don't think we really have that in the Philippines. But so for example, this whole building, it's 3 floors with so many studios inside, and they call it like community arts studio.
Yeah, I think one of
but it actually looks like to be honest.
Sorry again. Yes, sorry. Was that it actually looks like
But
what?
it doesn't an office building, like it doesn't look like an art studio, but yeah, these are studios inside.
I think one of the things that Japan has really provided for our spaces like that, no? Community spaces that each particular community members can use, no? Art centers, community spaces. Each city have that, no? Unfortunately,
Yeah, that's true.
of course.
Yeah, sa
But
atin,
yeah,
sana all na lang. And
but you mentioned
maybe
you are from Goganecho, no? So are you going back to Goganecho after that?
so right now, because this building is actually closer to Ralph, so I will go home to Paradise Air tonight actually. So
Would you like to share more of that space? Would you?
The Love Hotel.
yeah. So I'm trying to, let's see how far the Wi-Fi will go. But so for example, this was open. Maybe someone is there, but like that's a studio space.
That's a studio. Okay. Looks like a hospital, no?
Yeah, it's a studio, right? It does. It's a bit scary actually if you're alone.
Yeah, they didn't look at that bench.
Right?
No?
It does look like a hospital.
The
That's true. And this was the space where they said I could do a Zoom meeting. It also looks a bit old and a bit scary, but yeah.
in the third floor.
This is the studio space that I'm using is actually like above this room.
but it's already closed, so I couldn't show it. I'm so sorry, but it's just a room that's like, if I will use this room to
Don't go inside.
explain our
Don't go inside.
Yeah.
space,
The
it's
Wi-Fi.
size.
The Wi-Fi.
Am I back?
Ness,
Am I
Ness.
back?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, don't go inside. Just outside is, I think, the limit of Wi-Fi.
Okay.
That's another
Okay.
yes.
So to explain our rehearsal space, it's right above this. It's exactly the same layout actually. So you could just imagine it's exactly like this room, but it has nothing, like no tables, no chairs, and it's just a black floor.
So maybe this is where they start,
where
ano. So with regards to the space, can you describe it like in 3 keywords?
Okay, maybe I'll just explain the whole, I mean, like keywords for the building, I guess, and not just the studio space that we have been using. I would say it's quite challenging. Because a lot of artists are performance makers are using it, so we have to be careful with our voice or how loud we can go. We can like if we can scream or whatever, because we always have to be sensitive with the other people who are rehearsing, because it's not like the place is like professionally soundproofed, they're just actually big, like big classrooms that people can use. So we have to be sensitive to that. So that's why I think it's challenging. Clean. It's very clean. Outside the building, you can't wear shoes. So when we enter the building, we have to take off our shoes and put it in a cabinet. And we have to bring indoor shoes. I think that's also interesting. Like, I don't think we have that in the Philippines. So here, when they do rehearsals, usually the rehearsal spaces, they are not barefoot, but they bring shoes that they just use inside the studio. And because I'm not familiar with that, I'm just with my socks because I don't have indoor shoes.
Is this the first time you went
So
there?
challenging, clean. We've been rehearsing here since October 1. So 9 days.
Yeah, we have a question. No, Jerome is asking actually, up to what time does the space operate?
I think it opens at around 8 a.m. until 10 p.m. I think, or 9 to 10.
Okay.
It's really.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes, please continue. Sorry.
It's actually really big, but yeah, the Wi-Fi is only until I'm tethered to this thing, so I can show everything. So maybe one other word will be. I'm not sure what's another word. New. I would say it's new. It's new to me anyway. So that's what I have.
At this point, I think we can open some questions. No, some initial questions is if, like for example, right now, we can actually invite the guests to ask questions to Jiandyin, to Ness, to Ralph. If you have any questions with regard to the space. Like we have one right now. What are some of the things you look for in a studio space as a performer? I think this is for you, Ness.
Actually, to be honest, my own practice has always been I mean, when I do like small independent projects, we usually just make do with whatever space we have. And this kind of DIY rehearsal space really informs the work. So for example, I think this is also the reason why a lot of the interventions that I do are more site-specific in the city. It's because I don't really have like a proper studio space to kind of dance on my own. Or I don't dance, but like to explore like on my own in a proper studio space. But if there's a project like now, if there's an actual project that I'm doing, which has some sort of funding, I think an important thing in a studio space is that it's empty. At least for me, that's what I require. Empty, yeah.
Yeah, I think some like a connection in with regards to how the three, like you, Ness, Ralph, and Jiandyin actually technically consume the space, no, and use it to your advantages, that you adjust to it, no. Jiandyin basically from a rice field made that particular space in relation to how they will use it, no. And I think just like Ralph has been adjusting in terms of how he can also navigate through that particular space, and then the familiarity basically becomes the next positioning, no. And just like what you mentioned, no, you mentioned that one of the things that you noticed that it was clean. I think it became something sort of a, I think when you're in Japan, that's basically one of the things that we sort of became familiar with. And then there will always be this particular transition in terms of, this is what Ralph has mentioned a while ago. And for you, it's something new that you transition to. And then of course, from what I think Jiandyin mentioned a while ago about how they transition their practice into, this idea of being able to share to the local people a more connected way in terms of discussing art in their practice, no? And so sort of something like that. The space somehow became a part of that. Mark, do we still have time, Mark, for the next session, or should we go forward to the toast?
Maybe we can have a few questions.
Okay.
If there are questions.
We invite the audience for some questions. Maybe you have something to ask our artists. So, Jiandyin, do you still, after pandemic, would you still open your space for residency for artists from abroad?
Yes, we still have like Anjo. Actually, Anjo supposed to be here early this year.
In April, last April.
Yeah.
Sorry, who's that?
Anjo.
Bolarda.
Anjo.
Bolarda, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and one another from
India.
A
researcher.
Yeah.
And also one Thai artist who's now in Germany. Yeah. So we still hold their residency when they're able to come.
I think one particular space in the Philippines that also somehow is something related, or maybe just like how you activate your space, is Casa San Miguel in Zambales. And there are some spaces here, that somehow works within a community, invites artists, and has a space just like yours. And it's really nice, for this kind of this particular spaces to be engaging with other artists or younger artists. Especially your place is you said historically it has a very good
Background, yes.
background.
Yeah.
Nice, that's nice. Our guest, do you have any questions to our presenters today? Do we have our
Phone in
I
question.
forgot to say that. That's right. We have actually Ness mentioned, I forgot to say, but the project I am in is under Festival Tokyo, and we have actually successfully brought in performers from India just to work on this project. So it's a collaborative project.
Yeah, so it's a work in progress, and I think I just wanted to share that this is actually the first time in a long time that I'm actually in a physical studio space. So since the start of the pandemic, I have just been in my room creating work, and this is also the first time that I'm actually in a studio, being able to work with other people. So like maybe we have so this is the program that I am part of, and so these are the performers, and we weren't sure if they could fly in and come to Tokyo, but somehow the festival was able to make it happen. And so it's been quite strange, to be honest, that since October 1, I have been able to actually have contact, really close contact with other bodies in a rehearsal space. And especially because it's an international collaboration type of work in progress. So I know that it's like right now in the Philippines, this is impossible. But I just wanted to share that this is actually something that we are able to do here in Japan for now.
Thanks, Ness. I think we don't have a question. No? Maybe, well, and I think we don't have much time too. We were hoping to ask you for one particular object that you usually use, but I think maybe for tonight, maybe that can be for another discussion. And I hope some of the guests here are interested in connecting with you more. They can actually connect with Load na Dito so that they will be able to know more about your practice and maybe the space and maybe something like the Paradise Air or Toganecho or the space that Jiandyin program. For tonight, I think we should end with sort of a drink. No, this is also to celebrate Ralph's birthday, and also for the participation of for being chosen in Documenta, right? Tama ba, Mark?
Yes.
Yeah.
Honor, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Ralph.
Thank you.
So please, everyone, please do grab a drink. And then maybe you can turn on your cameras and maybe end this. Usually open studios usually end with sort of a drinking session. That's maybe some of the things that we look forward to, when we go to an open studio or when we go to visit an artist space. It's to connect more maybe with drinks. So wait, I don't have mine, but this is just for me. Water. Yeah, we have here Con, we have here Sir Norberto Roldan, Sir Pee-wee.
Mosat is here. Mo, how are you?
Mosat, Sir Jello, we have Maria, and some students, I think, from APC, and BM Lab also is here. And also
And Said Free, our
Museum
sponsor.
Collective.
Museum Collective. Say hi.
Hello. Yeah,
Okay, let's okay, sorry, Jay. Take
Yeah,
photo.
I'll ask Ralph because it's his birthday.
Woo! Happy birthday.
And you're in Japan, no? So maybe a kampai or a toast for everyone to end this night.
Yeah, I just saw Con and I remember she stayed here in Paradise Air, so she's familiar with this place. Anyway, yeah,
Happy
kampai.
birthday. Kapay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Jerome, take photo. Let's.
Yes, finish. Many photos.
Yeah.
How do you say in Thai? Cheers, toss.
ชนแก้ว
Kiao.
Thank you.
Kiao.
Ay. Sabi. Ito patawag ka sa Jay.
Food panda, yung food panda.
Okay, so everyone, thank you very much. And we hope to see you next
Oh,
session.
wait.
So actually, it's a Con will be presenting as one of our panelists. Con and Mizuho
Mizuho.
Ishii, who is also here. And it will be moderated by Francesca Kasawa. So it will be on October 30, 2 p.m. So hope we'll come again. And let's have fun also. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Congratulations.
birthday.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.